Welcome to all of our viewers. We hadn't planned on doing another broadcast so soon after our previous two sessions. But by the end of this broadcast, I believe you will realize why it's important that we update you sooner versus later. I have two special guests joining us today, who I'll introduce in a few moments. But first, I want to thank the many parents and guardians who let us know your decisions about in-person, blended, or 100% remote learning options for the upcoming school year, as well as those of you who told us whether or not your children would be accessing bus transportation for in-person learning. We've received forms for about 7,500 of our learners, and we're now in the process of calling families who we haven't heard from yet. If you didn't submit the form by the July 21st deadline and you haven't received a phone call yet, please help us out by completing the form located in the Return to School section of our BCPS website. I also want to let you know that more than 1,700 students are currently enrolled in the Bedford Connects remote learning program for the upcoming school year, which represents a little more than 20% of our total enrollment based on the families we've heard from at this point. I also want to let you know that we've posted two new and important items in the Return to School section of our BCPS website. The first is our Return to School instructional plan that we're required to submit to the Virginia Department of Education. If you've been watching our broadcasts and reading our FAQ page, you may not find any new information in this document, but we still wanted to make sure that you can read the plan in the format that the state requires. We've also created and posted a two-page infographic summary that we hope will be helpful in understanding and explaining our plan to others. At this point, I want to introduce our two guests. Crystal DeLong is a teacher at Liberty High School and serves as president of the Bedford County Education Association. And Carrie Williams is the president of the Bedford County PTA Council. In addition to representing all of our parent-teacher organizations, Carrie is a fourth grade teacher who's been working at New London Academy, but will be working at Forest Middle School this fall. I invited Crystal and Carrie to join us today to talk about our plans to return to school, and specifically to discuss the school calendar that we published last week. So Crystal, welcome, and let me start with you. I guess I'd just like to ask you, since you hear from lots of teachers and other employees in your role as BCEA president, what are you hearing from teachers, and what are they saying about our plan to return to school?
Thank you, Dr. Shook. I have been hearing from a lot of our teachers and our education support personnel. I've never been so popular. But we overwhelmingly, what I am hearing from teachers, there are a lot of different concerns, specifically that we maybe don't feel like we have enough time to do training. But overwhelmingly, people do believe that we have a good plan. We actually think that this is one of the best return to school plans in the Southwestern Virginia area.
Okay, well, I know that earlier this week, you sent me a letter, you sent it to school board members and a few other staff members on behalf of your association. It wasn't just from you, based on what you were hearing. Can you let our audience know a little bit, I know you can't read the whole letter, but just kind of the highlights of maybe why you guys wrote the letter and kind of the high points of that letter?
Sure, we had sent a survey out to all of our members, and just based on a lot of different things that we were hearing. And of course, the letter that I sent, it doesn't represent every single member of the BCA, but it does represent the majority of our members who basically are asking for a delay in the start of school. Not a delay for teachers to come back, but a delay for students to come back. Our staff is feeling a little bit overwhelmed with the blended learning that we're going to be doing, especially at the secondary level. We're excited about that, but we are concerned about having enough time to train. We are very eager to see our students again, but we want to be as prepared as possible. We owe our students our very best.
Okay, well, I for one, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of our school board and our staff as well, we really appreciate that you shared this feedback with us and that you shared it in a timely manner. Because we really do need to know what teachers are thinking about this plan. We've spent a lot of effort and energy reaching out to parents and families, but that teacher, that employee voice is also so important because you're the people that are going to make this plan work or not. And I think you're absolutely correct. What we're doing this fall at all levels, but especially at that 7th through 12th grade level, is very different than anything we've done before. And I'm glad that teachers feel comfortable expressing those concerns. So, Carrie, let me bring you into the conversation because you represent parents. And so you've heard Crystal say that teachers are asking for some more time to train before students would actually arrive in the fall. What, if anything, are you hearing from parents through your connections with the other PTAs and other places within our community?
Well, the PTA Council also did a survey over the weekend, and we found that 77% of the people who took that survey wanted the school to start later for our students. I heard and saw on some Facebook pages that parents just wanted what was best for the teachers. So they reached out and actually asked, what are teachers saying? What would be best for our kids to go back? Do they need longer for training? So I think that answer impacted a lot of the parent thinking. So I commented back and said that as a teacher, I do appreciate that, because I feel like I've heard from some teachers too, and we do need longer to train.
Okay, well, thank you, Carrie. And you know, that's so reassuring because, you know, one of the concerns we've had in developing this plan, and the two of you have been part of that along with so many others on our task forces, is, you know, that our students have been out of school since March, and we have been trying to get them back as soon as possible. But I think what I'm hearing from you is parents also understand the extreme pressure on teachers. And when we are able to get back, they want them to be well prepared and able to deal with the children in different ways than maybe we've done this in the past. So I guess I just want to thank you, Carrie, and you, Crystal, for jumping on this on such short notice and having this conversation with me and letting our community kind of have a little bit of a sneak peek into some of our discussions. And for our audience, what I want to let you know is based on what we're hearing from teachers and the conversation you just heard and ones like that we've been having earlier this week, we are revising our calendar to provide an additional week of training and support for teachers to prepare for the school year. Our teachers will report to work in early August, just as we had planned, but now our school start dates will be August 19th on the elementary campuses, August 20th on the middle school campuses, and August 24th on the high school campuses. So exactly 1 week from what we previously published. Also, our Bedford Connects remote learning will also start for all grade levels on August the 24th. I'm sorry to the parents out there for making this change so quickly after just releasing the previous calendar, but we simply need to support our teachers during this challenging time. We also wanted you to have this information as soon as possible. I really hope, that this is the last change of this nature that we make in the coming weeks. But I do need to remind everyone that this situation is extremely fluid, and I continue to ask for your patience and flexibility for any future changes as we prepare as best we can for returning to school next month. Thank you for joining us today, and please stay safe.